chatted with MILFs all weekend.
In your area?
In my area. Hello, good morning.
Oh, good morning, BBs. It's too early.
It sure is.
Welcome to the first, best, and only morning show in existence. I'm Anthony Carboni.
And I'm Saige Ryan.
We got such a show for you today. We're going to talk a little bit about some Sony/Ghosts of Tsushima news.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a bit about some Marvel casting news. I'm going
to read you a bunch of stuff from a really upsetting subreddit.
Hey, it's just that kind of day,
everybody. It's going to be fun. We've got a little more LinkedIn mindset grind set. That went so well for me last time.
Baby, I'm always on the mindset grind set.
And hey, if you enjoy any of those things or us talking to you about any of those things and you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like that video.
Yeah.
It's very helpful and it's free to us. And also, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Pixel Circus, like our Pixel Plus members, Everett and Flying Queso have.
Woo!
Look at that. Remember to do a Patreon in the intro.
Remember to do a Patreon in the intro is what my grandmother always said.
Yeah.
She said, you got to put it in the intro.
She said, people don't listen to the end.
No. She said, don't. She said, listen, everybody worries too much about end cards. This is the most inside of baseball.
Anthony, how was your weekend?
It was lovely. Played a lot of games. I did jump right into that Animal Well.
Yeah.
Oh, Animal Well.
Yeah.
Animal Well. I get a feeling from Animal Well that I haven't gotten from a game since Fez. It's got that vibe.
Wow.
Fezzy, tunicky vibes. Also played some of that Another Crab's Treasure.
So fun. That first boss is so difficult.
You're not a Soulsy person, though.
This was my first Souls.
Yeah.
I got my ass kicked on the Newegg channel.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah. Everyone was very polite.
Not the Newegg channel.
But I was streaming
to
the Newegg channel, not even mine.
I know.
Got my ass kicked.
People were like...
That first boss wrecked me.
People are like, I come here for reasonably priced power supplies.
Yeah.
And to watch a lady get her ass kicked.
Yeah.
At a Souls.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Another Crab's Treasure is it looks like they made Baby Souls. They didn't. They made Souls game.
Yeah. Thought it was going to be Baby Souls.
The only thing that's not full on Souls about it is you don't have like stamina meter. Like you're not worried about that all the time.
Yeah.
But everything, like the timing of the combat, like the way it all works, like it is not light on the Souls.
I can't block like that. I simply don't have all the dodge and block down.
Yeah. It takes a bit, but I love that they put it out. I was talking about this on stream. I love that they put it out because it opens up Souls type combat for people who like that sort of technical play or would like that sort of technical play.
Yeah.
But don't care about a rusty skeleton.
Yeah.
Or how many hands have 87 fingies.
Yeah. I love games that break down the combinations that we know of visual and like tactical or like visual and play style in general. They can look like anything. You can make a cute ass game about crabs that beats me mercilessly into 100 rounds with a boss.
It's very, as far as the writing goes, it's also very aligned with your whole vibe.
I loved it.
It's very aligned.
It was really fun.
I also played a lot more. I mean, I keep playing Hades 2. Hades 2. Hey, Alex, Death to Kronos.
I have not gotten to play it yet. But I'm very excited. Unfortunately, there were too many.
I would have thought you would have been all up on it.
I've actually been playing Harold Halibut, which is that handmade game.
Yeah,
like the hand-painted one. And it's very slow-paced to get into, but it's very beautiful.
Plus, it's Ren Fair season.
It is Ren Fair season. I went to Ren Fair this Saturday. It was lovely.
I keep forgetting that Alex is the one of us that goes out and does things.
Yeah.
I'm actually really good at activity. I'm like always inviting people to activity.
No, we're really good at waking up and looking at the world and going, no, not leaving the box.
Not again.
No, this is my box.
Not again. Anthony, do you know what I did this weekend?
Saige, what did you do this weekend?
I chatted with MILFs all weekend.
In your area?
In my area.
MILFs in your area?
Hot MILFs in my area.
Yeah, well, I know that you and Kendall have been doing your reality show podcast, Too Hot for Love.
So not but 3 weeks ago, Kendall and I started a podcast called Too Hot for Love. It's on this channel. And an unsurprising thing happened over the weekend. We are currently covering the show MILF Manor. It's not a MILF Manor podcast. It's a reality show podcast.
Yeah.
But right now we're doing the season of MILF Manor.
Talking a bit about the MILFs.
And I got I got the MILFs of the manor sliding in my DMs.
I found this fascinating, not because you don't deserve it. I want you to have all the MILFs sliding into your DMs. But yeah, because you had just started doing the show just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I guess from what you were telling me, it's because you're the only people that have been talking about MILF Manor in a way that isn't just like, haha, look at this joke of a show.
Yeah. And that wasn't even like we're going to do this. We just genuinely like women. And it's so crazy how far that'll go when you don't hate women. Mm-hmm. And I did. I went and I looked it up because I was like, wow, I guess I haven't really watched anyone else talking about this. And there are people talking about it that have a ton of views, but they're mean. They're all mean dudes. It's all a bunch of like white guys saying rude shit about women and just like this spectacle of it. And like, don't get me wrong, the show's a spectacle. Like the concept is ridiculous, right? They called it MILF Manor. There's a silliness to this.
They knew what they were doing.
But it is so weird because I would have never thought, I just like, it would never cross my mind to be like, oh yeah, because there's a silliness to this, we should be mean to the women, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's not one of those shows where like, I'll be mean to the guys on most shows. Mm-hmm. Most guys in general, honestly.
Yeah, that's true. But confirm.
Like, these are just kind of like, mostly they're just women.
Yeah.
Like it's really not anything. Anyways, I tweeted that we had a new episode out and I got a tweet back from one of these MILFs and I was like, this is a really inactive Twitter. I don't know if this is real.
Right.
And then I saw that on her Instagram story, she posted like 4 clips from the podcast and a video talking about it.
That's right.
And then it was just the MILFs are seeing each other's posts. Got a DILF too. We got posted by a DILF, Darren.
3 MILFs and a DILF?
Yeah.
Like the old nursery rhyme?
Yeah. Truly. It was such a wild weekend. We had DM conversations. They were all very, very nice about our podcast.
Aww.
They were all just very nice ladies. But I was just baffled. I was just screaming into my phone at Kendall to be like, I'm talking to a MILF! Which, you know, out of context is still worth screaming over, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, you should be screaming it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, everybody go watch it on YouTube, listen to it on podcast stuff. Just listen. It's by MILFs for MILFs.
There we go. Look, if the MILFs think it's a good podcast, you probably will too. Just saying, you'll probably enjoy it.
I always say, if it's for MILFs, it's for me.
There we go.
I have a pin. I have an election pin that says it.
Yeah. That's like the vote 31.
That's right. It looks like an old I like Ike pin.
Yeah.
It just says, if it's for MILFs, it's for me.
If it's for milks, it's for dilks.
If it's for Dilkies, it's for Dilkies.
You know the old proverb.
You know what they say. That old nursery rhyme from the sea.
If milk a dilky.
If milk a dilky, Filky Wilky.
His pin just says milk.
Milk. That's actually just a pin that says milk.
Yeah. Anyways, that was my weekend and it was a very strange one. But then I was recording last night until like 11 o'clock. So I'm a little sleepy.
It's fair. It's fair. You can be a little sleepy and you know what's going to wake you right up?
What?
All this news.
All this news?
All this news.
All right. Well, let's start with the Sony stuff, right?
Sure. Sony, just having a great couple of weeks. It's a great couple of weeks to be a publisher of video games.
Yeah.
You know, to be a large corporation.
Couple of years.
Yeah. Honestly, they just keep making great decisions and knocking it out of the park. It's like they can do no wrong. Mm-hmm. Sony, Microsoft, Embracer.
Yeah.
No one can do any wrong in this industry.
Name a wrong they've done.
Name a single thing that my beautiful son, the Embracer Group, has done.
Well, we could probably name a little one. You might remember that we had 2 episodes talking about the Helldivers controversy. Mm-hmm. And
controversy.
There we go.
If you're watching overseas.
That was rectified by the end of it, of them being like, haha, JK, we won't.
Yeah, so they were like, you're going to need a PlayStation account login to play Helldivers on PC. Mm-hmm. And everybody went, that's absolutely fuck you.
Well, and aside from absolutely fuck you, it's not even available in most countries.
Right. So they pulled it from Steam in basically every territory that didn't have PSN.
Even if people had already bought the game.
That's right. And then they said, okay, our bad. We will allow you to log in without PSN. But they never restored it in those territories. And it started people asking, hey, what's going to happen to other Sony PC releases? Is everything going to be okay? One of the things that people were doing was like heavily like tweeting, emailing, talking to the Sucker Punch about Ghost of Tsushima.
Right.
Like, will Ghost of Tsushima like be available worldwide? Will we need a PSN?
Right.
And Sucker Punch was like, hey, you're cool. Don't worry. You're good. Sony has announced that they will not be selling Ghost of Tsushima 2 in any of the countries that Helldivers 2 is restricted in. That's 177 countries.
Rough.
Out of just a little over 200 countries on the planet Earth.
That's rough, buddy.
That's rough, bud.
That's rough, buddy.
This is a weird thing. It feels, because Ghost of Tsushima, okay, you're talking about Helldivers, you're talking about live service, you're talking about PSN. And for them, they're like, well, if you're going to play this live service game that we make, we want you to be on PSN. And if you're going to be on PSN, we have to make sure that we have all of the legalities, liabilities, and finances of having PSN in your country opened up. Okay, that's for an online game. Ghost of Tsushima is a single-player campaign-based game. There is nothing keeping Ghost of Tsushima from being in those territories other than Sony potentially being sore about it.
You think that's it?
Listen, I think it's one of those things where it's like, well, look, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it across the board.
That's the thing. I think that this is a long-term strategy of theirs. And they're like, at some point we have to pull this plug, right? Like at some point we have to commit to this so that it can be in all the games going forward. So if they're like, by this date, we need all of our games like this, right? They're like, at some point people are just going to get mad at us and we're just going to it has to start somewhere, which it doesn't. You can change your plan.
Yeah,
it's
you can change your
plan.
You can remove, like, somebody mentioned there is a multiplayer mode in Ghost of Tsushima, but that's not what it's about.
No, you can make that unavailable. I still think this is kind of shit.
Yeah.
Like, I still think it's kind of shit, but like, okay, there are so many other things to do. And I'm like, when I'm planning to commit a little breaking and entering or a little arson.
Yeah,
right?
just a tiny arson.
If I've laid out a really excellent plan all the way up, right? I'm like, wow, this is going to do such a break and enter and arson.
What a good arson.
And then I arrive on the day and I'm like, you know what? The blueprint that I had for this house is really not leading me to the most effective arson.
Yeah.
Right? I just simply have to change my plan to accomplish what I want to accomplish, which is arson. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I feel like Sony could learn from that.
Look, you got to do what you got to do to burn that house down.
And that's what I'm saying. If the goal is burning the house down and I'm like, I need to not get distracted by other things.
You can't say to yourself, this is not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful wife.
Right.
You have to focus on burning down the house.
I have to focus on burning down the house.
My house is not an ordinary. Ooh, babies.
I've listened to the Paramore version of that song 100 times.
Do you know what I think the best version of that song is? It is a version that was made by Tom Jones and the lead singer of the Cardigans. And they do it as a duet, and it fucks.
Wrong. It's Paramore's.
Wow.
Anyway.
So listen, this is a weird decision. I mean, this might be a blanket thing that Sony's like, we have to have a policy in place.
Yeah.
So we can understand.
But
so
why not figure out, look, I'm going to say, I don't know why PSN isn't available in these countries, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like, I don't know, there's a certain like American thing to assume that like all other countries are little. You know what I mean? That's like a very American view.
Just little guys.
Yeah. America thinks like, well, our country big, Europe probably big, everyone else probably physically small.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
and even
how
Europe,
many people could it be, right?
Europe is 3 little guys in a trench coat.
Yeah, exactly.
Europe's a continent.
It's a very like, it's a very self-indulgent us thing to do. But like you look at this list
but I
and
should
it's
say,
like,
not wrong. I should say, not wrong.
But it's just wild. It's like this isn't going to be available in all of Japan.
Yeah.
Japan is on the restricted countries
For
list.
Ghosts of Tsushima. Whoa. Yeah, this is Sony is very interesting about this PC thing. They have gone back and forth on whether it's right for them, how much of it they want to do. They've said before they don't want to take the Microsoft tactic of, releasing everything on PC. It doesn't make as much sense for them. It doesn't make as much sense for anybody except Microsoft because Microsoft makes the Windows.
Yeah.
So of course, like, yeah, we'll put out the games on the PC. That's fine. Sony knows that they have to start doing this. They know that the individual boxes are going away in a generation or two.
Yeah.
But they also know that, like, it's not really a ton more money for them when you lay it across the cost of developing and marketing a PC SKU of a game alongside a PlayStation version.
Yeah.
So for them, it's like, why don't we want 177 territories more money? Well, because like we are not focused on the PC and we don't want to deal with all of the rights and restrictions and money that it's going to take us to run our company the way we want to run it in every country. The idea of like, because for us, we look at it and we go, just burn down the house if you want to burn down the house.
Yeah.
For them, if for a large corporation, if they go into a country without the infrastructure they plan on having 10 years, 15 years into the future, they set a precedent that then causes more for them customer service issues down the line.
So here's my question. Why doesn't Sony have the infrastructure to have a game in Japan? I say this just because Japan is a massive gaming market.
Yeah.
So this isn't about like Japan, people in Japan that should get the game more than anybody else. Yeah. It's a matter of Japan is just such a massive gaming market. And I do understand that. It's
also, Sony does happen to live there.
Yes.
They do happen to be there.
So it's like, that's wild to me. There's a bunch of like every country on here. You're like, why the fuck can't you make a game for this? And I know that there are different and sometimes more restrictive laws in Japan because America is like, literally do whatever you want to our people. We don't care.
Yeah.
But like, you would think at this point, Sony would probably no.
If I had to guess, and this is a guess just based on somebody who, listen, I haven't done work for PlayStation in years. I don't know what the current state of PlayStation is. But I'll tell you this, from what I know about working with Sony for years, the individual departments of Sony don't get along or talk very well. And the idea of Herman Hulst over at Worldwide Studios saying we're doing a push onto PC doesn't necessarily mean Sony Japan wants a push onto PC. And I wonder if this is a political thing within the company as much as it is a political thing about starting a game store on the PC there. I don't know. I don't know.
I started looking into it. I just did like a quick search of like, there's no PSN in Japan. There isn't. There is no PSN in Japan. So obviously that's why it's not going to Japan. But why, like, it's the question that leads to a question. Why the fuck is there no PSN in Japan?
Right.
Why have you not figured out how to put it in Japan? And here's the thing. Here's the fucking thing. It's okay if you don't have it figured out yet. Wait until you figure it out.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do this at some point. You don't have to, but you want to do this at some point. It's in the plan.
You might as well just put it there to have it there, right?
Yeah. Like just, again, even 10, 15, like focus on figuring it out then.
Yeah.
Make it a priority.
I think most corporations are bad at that. I also wonder if it has something to do with the fact that in Japan, like physical media is still very much king there.
Yeah.
Digital sales are not really what they are in the rest of the world. But, you can still go to a Tower Records in Japan.
That sounds great. I would love to go to a Tower Records in Japan. Actually. That sounds so much fun.
There are a couple great ones.
That sounds great.
So this is a really weird thing.
And this is really upsetting. There is a list here. You can already see it on Steam that says known restrictions. This package cannot be activated or purchased in these countries with the full list of it. So if that is something that you would like to check out, I will give a link to it, or you can just check it out on Steam. Honestly,
maybe they just don't like samurais in Japan. Maybe that's what it is. Do you think they have samurais in Japan?
I'm not going to engage with this.
Hey. Jump on into the ball pit with me.
I'm not.
Jump on into the ball pit with me. Let's play this game where we don't know that Japan is where samurai are from.
No, there's needles in that ball pit.
Let's play. Come on.
Let's play a little
game. Let's play a little game. What else?
I'm going to tell you what my mother told me when I wanted to go into the McDonald's burn
it down the house.
Play place when I was a child. No, there's needles in there.
Let's play. What other things does Japan maybe not know about?
Oh, no, Anthony.
Does Japan know about Godzilla?
At least wait till your beard grows back. Good God.
I know. I know. Well, I shaved the mustache though.
Yeah.
The problem with the mustache.
Everything comes out more offensive with your mustache.
Yeah, I have a face. So what happened here is like, see, Vaguspeezy's playing the game. Vaguspeezy's saying, do they know about sushi over there? Japan would love sushi. What happened is over the weekend, I was streaming and we said mustache like 3 times.
And it summoned it?
Yeah, kind of. It just became an intrusive thought. I just thought to myself, I could go have a mustache right now. Like I could just go have one.
Look, yeah, I get it. I've got bangs. I understand.
Right. It's the dude, like the mask thing of like, should I grow a mustache? Should I grow a beard?
Yeah.
Is very much the should I have bangs?
Yeah, that's the masculine urge.
The masculine urge. Yeah. So I went on BRB. I went and I shaved down to a mustache. And I got to tell you, Saige, it was the most obnoxious looking thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It was awful. I have a face.
You do?
Where if it has a mustache, everything sounds condescending.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like a little frightening.
Yeah, everything sounds condescending and like I'm not being serious.
Yeah.
Everything sounds like I'm being just a little smarmy when I have a mustache. And that's already sort of a problem I have. I have resting smarmy face.
Yeah, a little bit.
And so,
but it's like in your standard amount of it, it's like in a kind of cool way. You know what I mean? Like you have like a kind of cool guy amount of it.
Right.
Where you're like, I'm going to find out if this is cool or smarmy. And it's cool. Fortunately, you're very cool. But that does just unfortunately tip the scales in the other direction.
No, the mustache was bad. But the people were roasting me in the chat and they had some good ones.
Yeah.
They had some really good ones. Somebody said I looked like Robbie Rotten pretending to be like the all-star guy.
Wow, yeah. It was giving a bit of Robbie Rotten.
I used to, when I was clean shaven all the time, I used to get a lot of lazy town because I have a big wide chin and jaw. And so I used to get a lot of like, you look like lazy town. And I was like, that's not a cool thing to say to somebody.
I got hired to be the girl with the pink hair in a live touring production of Lazy Town.
How was that?
I did not go on.
No.
I did not go on it.
No.
These people putting it on were very scary.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sometimes you get a contract that says, in contract, legally we can sit on your children. And then you don't go on tour. Anyways, being a child actor is like super weird.
Hey, but that's a great segue into another contract that came out this week. You want to talk about weird contract laws, Saige? Marvel Rivals is in closed alpha right now.
And very closed.
It is, the Marvel MOBA, the Marvel Overwatch.
Yeah.
Basically.
I don't like the combination of words, Marvel MOBA.
Marvel MOBA. Moverwatch? Marvel Watch? I don't know. We don't like Overwatch either. So let's not do that. But a lot of people were excited to play it in this closed alpha, including they opened up the alpha to streamers and kind of YouTubers, media people. And all you had to do was just sign an NDA, which is very common when you're in an alpha.
NDA, totally normal.
Totally normal. Unfortunately, Saige, this NDA had an interesting clause. It said all you have to do to be part of this early access of the game is simply agree not to say anything negative at all about the game or compare it to other games in any way.
So let's talk about non-disparagement.
Very cool, very normal.
Now, NDA does not mean non-disparagement. It means non-disclosure agreement. When somebody says that they signed an NDA, it means I won't tell the company's secrets. Usually there's an embargo attached to it for video games of you're going to play this,
I'm
but
under
you can't
a couple
talk
NDAs.
about it until a day.
I'm under a couple NDAs right now. Do you want to hear what they are?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so there's one for...
Okay, so I almost got him. A non-disparagement, on the other hand, is a totally different thing. And sometimes people put it on the NDA, which they shouldn't.
They shouldn't.
They're not supposed to do that. It's supposed to be its own page.
And first of all, a non-disclosure agreement is legally shaky depending on the content of it to begin with.
Whereas a non-disparagement is actually illegal in California.
Yeah.
So where we live, you actually can't anymore make us sign a non-disparagement agreement. We can simply say, nay to it.
Yeah, I'm allowed to say that you are garbage and your game is garbage and your product is garbage if I want to.
Now, a non-disparagement has been holding up shaky pretty much the entire time a non-disparagement clause has existed, but it was just last year that it officially was just absolutely put to the fucking garbage in California. Previously, they were really hard to uphold because, you know, a clause is, when it's consistently hard to uphold, it usually means it doesn't have legal grounds.
Yeah,
to
it's
it.
not. It's not a law.
It goes against something else. It's already kind of illegal to do, right?
Yeah.
So now it's genuinely illegal to do in California. A non-disparagement, as somebody who has been in a non-disparagement, is always a red flag.
Yeah, you don't do business with anybody who wants, like, listen, I've done business with some incredibly large corporations that have non-disparagements, but in those cases, you really have to look through and redline their non-disparagement. It's like, they know it's not going to hold up. You know it's not going to hold up.
Yep.
But one of the things is they just like, we feel nervous not having it in there. And you just go through and you redline it and you go, this is not something you can do. I'll agree to this. I'll agree. Because you know what? If a massive company hires you, they want to know that you're not going to go out the next day and just scream and yell horrible shit about that company.
Sure. And
Which,
hey,
maybe don't be horrible to people.
Don't be horrible. Because here's the thing. If what they said wasn't true, you'd be able to sue them anyways.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have to say, well, don't disparage us, because you could they can only say true things legally anyways.
Yeah.
If they're lying about you, that's already its own separate legal thing. But let me give you a little tip as somebody who has struggled with non-disparagements in the past. Also, if you are in a place that non-disparagements aren't legal and you don't want to end up going to court to have to fight your non-disparagement, look for an end date, because it's not always the same as the contract. Even if you sign a 3-month contract, they can put a non-disparagement in that doesn't have an end date. And if it's not specified, they don't even have to say it. They don't even have to say it. If it's not specified, an end date of the non-disparagement, it can mean forever or until it becomes illegal.
So, that's sort of the rundown of this stuff. But let's talk about what Marvel Rivals actually put into their contract. Now, this is not, we should say, a contract that went to press outlets and what would be considered legitimate reviewers. Can I tell you a secret? There's no difference between legitimate reviewers and press in fan press than there is anybody else.
Yeah.
Really. Like, is there a difference between Empire magazine and some dude on YouTube who screams about movies? Sure. But that difference is usually just those people care more and they put more into it. It's not a difference
and that's not always true.
Yeah, it's not a difference of like legitimacy in any way.
You don't have your license.
Yeah. Fan press is fan press. Enthusiast press is always enthusiast press. But this did not go, what I'm saying is this did not go to your IGNs or your
We
Polygons.
don't know what went to them.
Nothing's gone to them yet.
Yeah.
This is the pre-alpha. Reviewers, there's been no review agreement yet. This is the pre-alpha, and they sort of sent this to streamers and YouTubers, and they were like, if you sign this, you get to be one of the first people to cover Marvel Rivals.
So let's.
And a lot of people didn't read it, just signed it.
Yeah.
This is what the non-disparagement said. The content creator agrees not to make any public statements or engage in discussions that are detrimental to the reputation of the game. This includes, but is not limited to, making disparaging or satirical comments about any game-related material, such as features, characters, or music, or engaging in malicious comparisons with competitors, or belittling the gameplay or differences of Marvel Rivals, or providing subjective negative reviews of the game.
That last bit is tough.
Every review is subjective.
That last one is tough.
That's a review.
It's all bad, but providing subjective negative reviews of the game.
What is an objective? Is Marvel Rivals Gamergate? Is Marvel Rivals, they're like, you have to only put objective reviews. It's like one of those subreddits.
Because it doesn't even seem like they're saying objective reviews are okay. What they're saying is, like, if you think it's bad, that's subjective. So don't say it.
They're saying don't provide any subjective negative reviews.
Yeah.
So like, what would an objective review of a video game be? This video game takes up 13.7 gigabytes on my hard drive.
But that's an opinion if you say it's bad.
Right.
Yeah. So you just say, it does.
It does. That's an objective review.
Right.
This game supports resolutions up to 3840 by 2160 on my monitor.
Yeah.
Like
Jay Shaw in the live studio audience was like, this is like, I watched 5 minutes of gameplay. You can tell immediately that it is Marvel Overwatch. How do you avoid comparison?
Yeah,
that's exactly what they're afraid of.
But that's the thing, is it is Marvel Overwatch, it is Marvel Apex, it is Marvel.
And here's the thing, as somebody who once deeply loved Overwatch before I stopped playing Blizzard games,
yeah,
I want this game to be good so bad.
Oh yeah.
I want to love this game. I want back what I had with Overwatch that I have never had with a game again.
If I can have an Overwatch where I get to be Spider-Man.
God, right? Like the concept is great. It's just like, don't fuck it up.
People immediately brought this up. There were people that were sent this contract.
Yeah.
And immediately were like, oh no, instead I'm going to tweet your contract.
Yeah, screw this shit.
Fuck you, this is a wild contract.
Because hey, if you haven't signed anything, you haven't agreed to any secrets yet.
That's right.
Some people will even make you sign an NDA before they even send over the rest of it. Then you're in a different scenario. But
I've had gigs where they're like, hey, we want to talk to you about a job.
Sign an NDA
We're
first.
sending an NDA first.
Oh, yeah. Same.
Very common in entertainment.
Yeah.
So people immediately started posting this, and they've already responded. If you're wondering, pardon me, what Marvel's going to do, we already know.
Yeah.
NetEase, who's the developer, they have said like, hey, buddies, we're sorry. They said in their tweet, we would like to take this opportunity to address the concerns we've seen. The content creator program is a small scale project that aims to aid in the production of incredible content by supporting creators through giving them more resources. We actively encourage creators to share their honest thoughts, suggestions, and criticisms as they play. All feedback, positive and negative,
You do?
ultimately helps us craft the best experience for ourselves and the players. We sincerely apologize for the confusion, suspicion, and frustration caused by these excessively restrictive terms, and thank you for sharing with us.
So
that's a good sentence. That is honestly, the lead up is very corporate, but I want to talk about
excessively restrictive.
I want to talk about actually stating, you know, most companies would be like, we apologize for you feeling confused and suspicious. But they said, no, these were excessively restrictive terms. Okay, you got us.
I actually...
now, does it make it better that they sent it out in the first place? No.
I take umbrage with this specifically because it doesn't sound like what they're saying is, we fucked up, we're going to change it. By the end of it, they say, thank you for bearing with us while we make these adjustments. So it does sound like they are changing it now.
Yeah.
But it also sounds like what they're saying is like, we never did that.
No,
like it sounds a little like they're saying we never did that. They're not saying we want to. They're saying we actively encourage creators to share their honest thoughts, reviews, and criticisms.
Right.
No, you don't. You can start now, but you can't say we do.
Right.
Because you haven't yet.
No, I think when you read the entire statement, it to me, when I read the whole thing, it came off as this first paragraph is like, this is who we are. We want to encourage this.
Yeah.
But we see that we did not. We see that these terms were excessively restrictive.
Yeah.
We were working with creators who have expressed these concerns. We're revising the current version to be less restrictive and creator friendly. Thank you for bearing with us. I think it's basically, if you want to give them the biggest benefit of the doubt here.
Sure.
If you want, like, there are two ways to look at it. If you want to give them the biggest benefit of the doubt here, there is a game team, a game development team, a PR team, and a legal team.
Yeah.
Legal team.
Game development team isn't even part of this. Let's be real.
Yeah. Legal team went ahead and made the contract that legal team thought most protected the company.
Yes, always.
PR team and game dev company, game dev studio, did not push back or tried to push back. Lost.
Yeah. And
this thing came out. That's best case. Worst case is they were like, no, of course we're going to put this in. And if anybody says anything that's too negative about our game, we'll just we'll snipe them for it.
Yeah.
Which, like, that happened. Like, hey, you want to hear about something? We showed that Apple commercial.
Yeah.
We showed that Apple commercial with the iPad that everybody was mad at. And we said, we didn't understand why everybody was so mad. We said, we get it, but we also don't feel the same way. We actually don't think it's a bad commercial.
Yeah.
We got a takedown notice for that because somebody at Apple's PR or legal probably flipped the switch and said, anybody who mentions this,
nuke all of it.
It's radioactive right now.
Which is so wild because we get a lot, obviously we play trailers and stuff like that. And a lot of the time what we get is either a shared monetization or a demonetization of our video. They're claiming the monetization. So every time somebody watches it and watches an ad, they make money instead. So that happens to 50% of the episodes of this show.
Yeah. And usually what happens is you put in a response and you say, nuh-uh. And then a week later they go, okay.
But then by then, the first week is when your video does the most, so fuck you, because all of that still went to whoever claimed it, right? So like you lose that first week and that's just what it is, and you don't get it back.
Right.
But this was a takedown. They actually took down our video. We had to re-edit and upload it because we showed the commercial with commentary. It did fall under fair use, but the problem is if they continue to fight you on it, Apple will win at the end of the day.
And Apple will wait. Most people get back to you in a week. Apple will wait 30 days. And by then, there's no point in
fighting it.
There's no point in posting the episode.
Yeah.
So what I think is on the worst end of this, you have NetEase and NetEase's lawyers putting this out and being like, just in case we get some really negative shit about this game, we can make sure that we take it down.
Yeah.
Or we can make sure that this person gets blackballed from ever receiving product from us.
Yeah.
We can spread word in the industry that this person broke their contract.
Right.
You know, a lot of stuff. And that's like, I'm talking about the two extremes.
Yeah.
One extreme is, oh, it's mostly good guys and they didn't know. And the other extreme is they had the most nefarious plans in the world. It's probably just mostly corporate negligence.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that second sentence should have been phrased a little bit differently, that second paragraph. I do think saying things like, this is who we are, if you have an acted representative of that, is like a PR thing that happens a lot and I don't like it.
Yeah.
That's a personal thing that I just really don't enjoy, of people being like, this is who we are. But if you've acted against it, it's not who you are.
Yeah.
You are your actions.
I would rather that PR companies started phrasing that. I understand that they're like, declarative statements are better.
Yeah.
But I would really like it if like, oh no, we always aim to be this.
We want to be
we
this.
We try to be this.
We intend to be this.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's that like thing of like a shitty ex that's like, oh, but like I'm a really good guy.
Yeah. It's politician stuff. It's like, this is not who I am.
Right.
That's not who I am.
Right.
I am a different person than that.
Yeah.
Really? Are you?
Bill Clinton?
Yeah. But Bill Clinton started doing this thumb thing. And now like a lot of politicians do the thumb thing.
Yeah. But again, you are only a summary of your actions. So that's it. And I am happy to see them walk it back. I was looking at the replies to see how people were responding. And as always on Twitter, you have to scroll past all the check marks because there's no, Twitter's... That's not a real gaze into how anyone is responding to anything. It's such a cesspool.
Twitter is like going to a thrift store in a major city.
Yeah.
It's just like, you're going to be picking through so much to get like the quality stuff at this point.
So what I'm seeing is people who have actually played the game saying that they're really enjoying it, that they want longer match times. They have little criticisms for it, but they're saying it's a really fun and good game.
I mean, that's the thing is this is such a self-own.
Yeah.
Because I watched a little bit of people playing Marvel Rivals this weekend. Everybody was loving Marvel Rivals.
I think the comparison is a big thing for it. I think part of this really was to try and avoid the comparison of being Overwatch.
But you can't. But
I think that's the thing that they were
the same way that like first-person shooters were just Doom clones.
Yeah.
The same way platformers were just Mario clones.
Yeah.
MOBAs, and here's the thing, you're not even fighting that much of an uphill battle anymore because MOBA is a known genre.
Yes.
You're going to get comparisons to Overwatch mostly because of your style and art direction that you went with.
Comparisons to Overwatch because your game's like Overwatch.
Yeah, like it's a lot of these games are like Overwatch.
And that's fine. That's also not a bad comparison. If you're getting compared to Blizzard, that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But like...
And here's the thing, even if you get compared to Overwatch, even even a little bit negatively at this point, you are still going to win because people left Overwatch in droves. People only want, and even if you don't have problems with Blizzard politically, which
Overwatch 2 just had a lot of problems.
Overwatch 2 was not great. It was a horrible, horrible release. It fell flat. It was not what people wanted.
They dropped a bunch of promises.
And people are looking for something that fills that gap in their gameplay, like Saige was saying.
Yeah.
It's okay to be compared. You want to be compared to Overwatch at this point.
One of the other criticisms people are giving in the replies to this is that one of the ways that they're getting codes to this like alpha is through like essentially drops from streamers. Yeah. And a lot of people are like, I can't believe you're making me watch a streamer to get into this. And it's like, they're not. It's the alpha. You can wait for the game.
Yeah, you'll be able to have the game. It's
you just gave it to streamers. And it's like, that's literally how everything has always been. Imagine people being like, I can't believe I have to wait to watch this at the movie theater. Yeah. And yet you sent screeners to all these actors in the guild.
Hey, why did Roger Ebert get to see this movie before me?
What the fuck?
Excuse me? That seems weird. Why did Rolling Stone get a copy of this album before I did?
Oh, I guess you just make your game for industry people. I guess you just make your movie for other people in the industry and not for movie lovers.
Sorry, I'm not Martin Shkreli and I can't buy the one copy of this Wu-Tang album. Sorry. Yeah, it's odd. I mean, people always, we're running into the fact that people have problems with this. And this goes to the erosion of separation between what's considered legitimate fan press and influencer, streamer, social that's been happening over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
People are like, why does this popular streamer get this game before me when I actually love this game and would know more about this game and this person doesn't know anything about? Buddy, because they're trying to sell the game. It's a commercial for a game.
It's just so strange. It's just people don't think before they speak a lot of the time. Because if you could answer your own question. Yeah. I know you could. And I just find stuff like that very odd. Yeah. People just like, I had this feeling, and without investigating that any further, I'm going to tweet.
It's like I see YouTube comments that go all the time that go, strange that all these YouTubers seem to release a video about this product on the same day. I see that so often and I'm just like, is it?
No, it's an embargo date.
Is it? How come all of you seem to release your video at the same time? How did that happen? Riddle me that, Caped Crusader. I seem to have found the flaw in your perfect plan. Gotham is mine now. What?
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's odd. I mean, the complaints that people have about this game are minimal, minus this weird corporate restrictive stuff that is just so emblematic of everything is just so fucking I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Corporations.
Yeah.
I'm so tired.
It's okay, Anthony. Twitter is bad.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take you on a journey. I'm going to take you.
Are we going to the museum?
To a whole different social media platform.
Oh no.
That's not like Twitter.
Is it like a museum?
You see, the problem is on Twitter, people aren't thinking, hey, this is a business, right? Like that's the criticism that we're giving here is you're looking at this and you're like, why are streamers getting it? It's because you're not thinking, hey, this is a business. You're interacting with a business.
Everything we do is a transaction, baby. From morning till night. And guess what? Night is just when more transactions happen because we don't sleep because we are always on the Sigma grind set.
Do you know where people are always thinking about business?
Shit. In my place. Come on over.
LinkedIn! We're going back to LinkedIn. Now,
Saige having to be on LinkedIn now that she runs a business is honestly the worst thing that's ever happened.
Yeah, it is.
Because she can't leave LinkedIn now.
I'm simply on my grind set mindset, and I'm not picking my Dr. Pepper up for this whole segment.
No.
It can't happen twice. I'll die. So, listen, this is the intersection though, Anthony. Between
No. I don't think that is the intersection. No,
it's video games.
The intersection between what?
And video games and business.
No, that's the intersection between two different things, I think.
What do you mean?
I think, do it a couple more times just so I can see.
Like if I go.
Yeah.
Video games.
Yeah.
Business.
I don't think that's the connection between video games and business.
LinkedIn.
And if it is, I don't think it's as much a part of it as people think.
Depends on what kind of business, you know what I mean? Listen.
I think the media has overrepresented that particular type of connection between video games and business.
Listen. On Friday, this is the intersection of so many things that we talked about on Friday. On Friday, we were talking about LinkedIn. And you know what else we were talking about? We were talking about how many people from video game companies are online just saying shit. And we were like, you never see that from Nintendo, right? You would be like, oh, Nintendo is never just online saying shit, right? They're just making games.
No, Nintendo, very quietly, they don't, like, no Nintendo executives out there sharing very personal stuff, showing their whole ass on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's not what Nintendo's about.
No, because Doug Bowser is doing it on LinkedIn instead.
I'm sorry, what? No.
The president of Nintendo, Doug Bowser. Yeah. For those who maybe you're here for the first time, that's his real name. This isn't about video games at all, but is active on LinkedIn and does get into a little bit of conversation and got into an argument on LinkedIn about something I never would have expected. You know what it is? Flight etiquette.
I was going to say which two Sonic OCs are the hottest.
Yeah.
You know?
But no.
And I would be like, that would be very surprising.
So, listen.
Flight etiquette. Okay.
This is about flight etiquette. Somebody named Chad.
Hey, Chad.
A partner at Crestview Strategy.
Oh, that's the most LinkedIn guy there is.
That's the most LinkedIn guy there is. Look
Chad? The partner at Crestview Strategy?
I know, right? Yeah. Posted something that with this AI generated image.
It's always an AI generated image.
Look at the eye on that.
Can I tell you something? There is whereas on the rest of the world and the rest of social media, there is a like, hey, don't post an AI image with this.
Yes.
That's icky. LinkedIn is like, no, everything AI image.
Yes. Tons of AI images because they're just like generating it to try and describe a point. And they're like, look at this technology I'm using.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I went to my kid's baseball game this weekend. AI of their kid.
Yeah, AI baseball.
baseball.
Fellow air travelers, as you make your way to your seat, rise from your seat, navigate the center aisle, etc. A reminder, you do not have the right to touch other people's seat backs.
Stop, Chad.
The seat on front of you,
okay,
should have checked for a typo there, bud.
Written by AI.
Is not there for you to stabilize or raise yourself. That's what an armrest is for.
Excuse me, Chad?
The seat you are in is yours. No other seat or seat back should be touched by you at any time. Thank you for respecting the miracle of flight. Hashtag miracle of flight.
Hashtag RTMOF, as in respect the miracle of flight, as though Chad thought he was about to start a real movement here.
Yeah, he did.
Chad thought branding, hashtag RTMOF, respect the miracle of flight was going to become something that we all said all the time.
A LinkedIn trend, respect the miracle of flight.
Okay, before we get to Doug. Before we get to Doug.
What up?
Where do you stand on Chad's opinion?
I think this is garbage. I think this is so weird. I think there's a level of like, hey, don't pull on somebody's seat, but also sometimes people fall over and shit happens. It happens for a second and you're fine. I think
we're walking down the tiniest, narrowest aisle.
On a moving object.
And if we're getting ready, if we're getting in the plane, we have a bag that's too wide for the aisle, even though it's made for the aisle.
Right.
And we're just trying to get occasionally.
Sometimes you're trying to go to the bathroom and the airplane is moving.
Like, y'all are so weird. Y'all are so weird. You are on a public form of transport. This guy is this. I feel like Chad also was like really hoping Elon Musk was going to build that LA like special road for cars.
100%.
The special underground train for cars.
Absolutely. The one that is terrifying in Las Vegas here.
Yeah.
I agree with Chi-Town who said this feels ableist.
It really does.
It is. It doesn't just like it is.
It's not just ableist. It's also like above, like it's also just, hey man, you don't actually own this plane, this seat, this space, this world.
That's the thing. It is
so entitled.
So weird. And to say you do not have the right. You do not have the right to touch other people's seat backs. Hey, bud, it's not actually your seat.
I bet Chad thinks that if he sits in the if somebody sits in the middle seat, they don't get either armrest.
Yeah, he does. I bet he does.
Chad's like, no, middle seat doesn't have an armrest because
how else would I have two?
Because if the aisle seat has two armrests like a chair is supposed to, and then the window seat has two armrests. Yeah. Middle seat is just like, sorry, you should just have more frequent flyer points.
That's true. Moonbeam Dreamer brings up a good point. Says, not to mention, your tray is literally on the seat in front of you.
Yeah.
But you have no right to touch it.
Don't
touch the seat in front of you.
Just the armrest of your own seat, which if you sit in the middle is none.
So Doug Bowser was like, I've got a fucking problem with this.
Hell yeah, Doug.
Doug Bowser said, rather arrogant and entitled comment. Some people may be challenged moving to their seat. Physical limitations, narrowness of seating areas. That said, if a passenger should need to support themselves getting in and out of the seat, they should be as gentle as they physically can. P.S. Where in your ticket purchase document are your rights to the seat back or other rules you speak of or declared?
Doug Bowser coming through.
Bowser. Okay, Doug.
All right, Doug.
All right, Doug. Imagine posting and getting owned by the president of Nintendo.
Imagine the American president of Nintendo.
Yeah.
Coming out of the shadows.
Uh-huh.
Because nobody on Nintendo posts anything.
Nobody.
Just to say, hey, bud.
Don't be a dick.
You need to take a little calm down time? Yeah. Do you need to take a 5?
Hey, you kind of sound like a jerk. Do you know that?
Do you know that you're coming off real bad here, Chad?
Hey, Chad? Do you hear you?
Chad? That's not very Mario of you.
Mario would never.
That's not
Mario would say, whatever people need to do to safely navigate the plane would be right.
Chad, are you being a Mario or a Wario right now?
Chad, I think you're being a bit of a Waluigi. Just heard Alex go, I don't know what that means.
I was going to say, a sexual icon? I think Alex and I were thinking the same thing. Are you calling Chad a sexual icon? Because that would be weird.
Fair. I'm not. I'm really not. I think this is a stellar own, right?
Yeah.
You wake up one day, you think that you're starting the trend of the people praising the miracle of flight, and instead you get owned by Doug Bowser. Chad replied, of course, and said, entitled would be indicating you own everything, not elucidated on a ticket on contract.
Oh, elucidated. Get the fuck out of here.
Manners are clear. Happy to help you out with them in the post. Seats are allocated by passenger. In fact, printed on all boarding passes.
Chadwick. Chaddington.
There's typos in here. I was trying to read over these typos.
Manners are clear. Happy to help you out on them with the post. Chad.
Hey, Chad.
Hush your mouth.
Hey, get a spell check, bud. Hey, try a little Grammarly. I don't know. Seems like it could do something for you.
Did we get more from Doug?
Yes. Yes, we did.
Doug didn't leave it.
Doug did not drop it.
Doug, last word, Bowser.
Doug dropped back in and said, manners are different from rights. I do see the arrogance is still prevalent, however. Have yourself a good day.
Doug Bowser!
Boom! And then he threw the mic at Chad.
Doug Bowser!
Come on. I loved that. Now, I can see here that there is a continued from Chad. There is no more from Doug.
No, but Doug's got things to do.
Doug said, have a good day. He said, ooh, I see this isn't going to go anywhere with you.
Yeah.
Still had the chance to call him arrogant, but in like the most professional way. And then was like, bye-bye now. I'm all done.
Sorry, I have to go run Nintendo.
Ready? Chad says, inserting yourself in a conversation you weren't invited to?
What?
It's a public post on LinkedIn.
You put a hashtag on it, Chadathan. You wanted it to go viral. You created the hashtag RTMOF.
Uh-huh. But this was a conversation Doug Bowser was not invited to with a person you're not connecting to and pronouncing what the correct answer is. That your definition of humility, again, this guy can't fucking type. That your definition of humility, or you just a congenial asshat.
Congenital.
What the fuck?
Congenital
What the fuck is he doing?
Yeah.
Why is he using these words when he can't type a normal word? Asshat without manners in travel or life. Be well, genius.
Without a comma.
Without a comma!
This is a thing that I notice a lot on Facebook and LinkedIn where the suits and the boomers live, which is they will post something hoping that everybody sees it and agrees with them, and like the Tumblr thing of and then everyone clapped.
Yeah.
They really want that to happen.
Yeah.
But if somebody comes in and disagrees with them, they go, I don't even know you, asshole.
Yeah.
You wanted it to spread to the world, you fuck.
You made 2 hashtags.
I hope that Doug looks at all of the email addresses connected to your LinkedIn, finds out which one is connected to your Nintendo account, and bans it.
Yeah.
I hope you never get to play Mario Kart again.
Other people stepped in, which is so fun, to back up Doug Bowser once Doug Bowser exited, which you always know is going to happen. I love that. Somebody who's a game designer said, great seeing people post out comments talking about their thoughts on matters in a public channel. And then when met with any form of rebuttal, they immediately fold, claim they weren't invited, and resort to name calling. Not a good look, Chad, especially when talking on a matter of manners. Also, don't forget, the back of the chair in front of you is included in most plane tickets. That's where the guides and papers are kept. I love it. Someone else, to your point, I think we've learned far more about the author than anything else. And then he replied to the Ryan person who was like, hey, you are not immune to criticism, and said, maybe you should start a manners blog and help us all. Chad, buddy. Oh yeah, sick burn, dude. Maybe you should start a manners blog then. Chad, buddy. This is very interesting. So I'm going to predict that Chad is probably Gen X here. And I'm going to do just one more dunk for the week on Gen X because Gen X already fucking hates me this week. Now, there's a clip from our podcast that was going around. And in it, we're talking about how Gen Xers had a lot of lead poisoning. I just say, this is a fact. Lead poisoning erodes the centers for empathy in your brain, okay? It's a thing that we've tracked, okay? I'm aware of this. But what I've never had is comments that were so nonsensical. Now, I upset people on the internet very often, but what I've never had is so many of the comments just to have like bad typos and not make sense and be like an attempt at a sick burn that just doesn't land because they typed it wrong or like the joke doesn't make sense. It was so wild because again, I upset people so often. I'm a very upsetting presence to a lot of people on the internet. But so many of the comments on my post were just like, yeah, well, you can't spell loser without your name. You know what I mean?
Is this the Gen X thing about the lead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is what I mean. So it has that same energy because I'm like, Chad's got to be Gen X, right?
Yeah.
Based on this profile. I'm like, it's got that energy of all the typos.
Chad could be millennial.
I doubt it.
Chad could be millennial.
Could be.
There are a lot because he's a finance guy.
Could be.
Crestview Strategy, he's a finance guy.
Could be. But remember, Gen X starts at like, what? They're like the youngest Gen X, like what, 43?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is the same kind of energy as those comments because there's a bunch of people that are like, yeah, well, your name's next to that in the dictionary. I'm like, sick burn, you really got me. Oh, no.
Yeah, it's wild. And one of the things that when you were talking to me about the reaction to that TikTok, is I was like, these are jokes that Gen Xers make about themselves. Like the lead poisoning stuff and we're forgetting things. And it's like the second they see somebody else do it, they're like, hey.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I
forget that other people can make jokes.
100%. But this led me to this whole subreddit because this subreddit is so silly. So this is r/LinkedIn lunatics.
Okay. That was my favorite Saturday morning cartoon growing up.
And
I would watch Power Rangers. I would watch Samurai Pizza Cats. And then I would watch LinkedIn lunatics.
Everything on here is truly and genuinely unhinged. It's a great little read. I haven't found a good subreddit I've enjoyed in a while.
I can't be on. I joined LinkedIn recently for the first time in years.
Yeah.
And I can't look at it.
Yeah.
I honestly can't look at it. I'll read 2 things will pop up and I'll be like, I am already just past I can't. Yeah. I'm past my limit of anger for the day already.
Yeah. You see, I'm very good at compartmentalizing.
Sure.
It's the trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just giggling away at this shit.
It's true. You only break down about once every 3 months.
And that's
not bad.
That's not bad, all things considered.
That's a good ratio.
Right? So here was one that was posted to this subreddit. Now, these are actually tweets about it, but this is somebody's like story from LinkedIn initially. Did you see this one?
No, I love this story.
Look at this guy. He's a millionaire who went homeless as a social experiment. His goal? Prove that anyone can make $1 million in 12 months with just a phone. The story of Mike Black and what happened next.
Oh, the story of what happened next is very good.
What happens next will shock you.
What happens next will shock you. If you did not think that Mike Black would fail, which we all did, and he and he did fail.
Well, the spoiler.
He did.
We were going to read a little bit of the story.
I mean, we'll read some of the story, but like, this is wild. He goes out and he's like, I'm going to make $1 million in 12 months.
Yeah.
And then proceeds to move these goalposts so amazingly.
Yeah.
Like,
that's it. Yeah.
Like, he goes out and he's like, I'm going to start over with nothing.
So,
and then he immediately like calls some friends to hang out and stay with.
Well, yeah, that's like, all summary of the story, but we have the story. We can just read you bits of the story.
Sure.
So he drained his bank account to zero, left his 7-figure business, and went homeless. What a term. All to prove that anyone can come back from rock bottom and inspire others. Publicly committed to the challenge, right?
Yeah.
He slept on benches, battling hunger and doubt.
For how long?
But knew that this was bigger than him. We'll get there.
For how long?
Right. Mike? Failure wasn't an option. Mike had to find a way no matter how hard it got, okay? You got to set up the tone. A turning point came when a stranger on Craigslist let Mike crash in his RV. It wasn't much, but it gave Mike a chance to regroup and strategize for his next move. He used this to plan his comeback. He wasted no time. He got resourceful. He started flipping free items from Craigslist, acting as the middleman for profit. Every dollar went straight to survival, okay?
I started with this paperclip, and I'm going to wind up staying at the most beautiful suite in this hotel.
100%. He sacked odd jobs, telemarketing, assistant work, delivery. Brick by brick, he was making his comeback, or so he thought. Rock bottom hit hard when Mike's bank overdrew and he found himself sleeping in a roach-infested RV. I thought the RV was like the good thing.
The RV was, just a moment ago, the RV was actually a stroke of luck.
And now it's roach-infested. That's horrible. What did you do to it? It doesn't sound like it was roach-infested when you got there. What did you do to this guy's RV?
Is Mike like a rat king, but for roaches?
Most would throw in the towel here, but no. Mike, it only fueled his fire. Comfort was the enemy. This was the ultimate motivator to turn things around.
Yes.
A $1,500 marketing gig became Mike's lifeline.
I'm sorry, at what?
A $1,500 marketing gig.
A marketing gig?
Which is so interesting because you say anybody can come back from anything from zero, but it does sound like that is based on your prior experience that you got a marketing gig,
It sounds like marketing knowledge was something that this was predicated on. And also, somebody would have to have known about his previous marketing experience.
Yeah.
This kind of sounds like somebody who knew Mike hired him to do marketing.
Remember the RV kid? We didn't say it was a kid.
It was a child. That was a 6-year-old orphan. He stayed in the RV of a 6-year-old orphan.
Mike bought the vehicle back for $2,000 and asked to repay the favor. What does that mean?
What favor?
With a small safety net, he could finally focus on building something bigger. Because he got a marketing job. He just went and got a job in marketing.
Wait, so his bank was overdrawn.
He
got a $1,500 marketing gig and
spent $2,000 on an RV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who'd he buy the RV back from? The roaches?
The kid.
Oh, okay.
I guess.
Yeah. Huh.
Mike zeroed in on creating scalable e-commerce biz, not just any biz, but one with heart.
Oh, okay.
He launched a coffee brand for dog lovers that donated proceeds to animal rescues. Still, he had to juggle with marketing clients and documenting his journey. Sleep became a luxury.
He had to juggle it with documenting his journey. He had to juggle it with the responsibility of making a documentary about how cool he was.
To fund his venture, Mike made bold sacrifices. He rented out his room and lived for free. What does that mean? What room?
In the RV?
Where do you live? He was all in. Every extra dollar went to the business. No plan B. Finally, he launched the brand. The machine was in motion, but then a devastating blow.
To the coffee dog business?
No, Mike's dad was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer.
Okay, that is
this
actually...
sounds like it was written by like a fan fiction writer on AO3, right?
Yeah.
Dropped everything to be with his family, but he knew his dad would want him to keep going on his journey.
He knew that in his final days, what his father would really want is for him to focus on the coffee dog business that he had wanted to do for minutes.
Which, mind you,
for minutes.
Before this he had a 7-figure business that he left to prove that he could become a millionaire again.
Right.
Back at it with renewed focus, Mike went full throttle implementing subscription model for reoccurring revenue. Subscription model of what? The coffee?
No, dogs. They would send a dog to your house every month.
He commissioned viral videos to spread the word. Some days he woke up to hundreds of new orders. That was it. Momentum was building. But then another crushing setback.
Not a crushing setback.
2 severe autoimmune diseases and a tumor left Mike in daily agony. Mike!
Wow.
Mike! He was running on fumes, barely able to function. Doubt crept in. Could he really keep going? That was when a message changed everything. A stranger reached out, saying Mike's story stopped him from ending his life.
Whoa.
At that moment, it clicked. This wasn't about hitting $1 million.
No, it was.
This was about inspiring others and showing them what's possible. He couldn't stop now. Too many people were counting on him.
Yeah, it was $1 million.
Still, Mike had to cut things short. He made $65,000, a far cry from $1 million, but still a massive feat for someone who started at zero. True achievement? Building a viable business in weeks, overcoming shitty odds, touching lives. Money comes and goes, but impact, that lasts forever.
So this is the story of an entitled dude who thought that he could be successful 100 million times because luck had nothing to do with it. Luck and environmental factors, decided to start over and failed.
Yeah.
Because he
Even
had to
with all of his factors that helped him.
Because he had to go up against normal things that everybody has to go up against.
Yeah. The top comment says, so he started with absolutely nothing. He made $1,500 on a gig doing marketing seminars like any homeless person could do. And then he used his viral videos to flog coffee because every homeless person has 1 million followers to sell things to. Of course.
Of course.
And then he only made $65,000 when he said he'd make $1 million.
But did he touch 1 million hearts with his dog coffee?
I don't think so. I don't think he did.
Okay, and the thing about this is that this is not a unique LinkedIn post. Like, this is not unique.
No.
They're all like, honestly, the TikToks that you see where it's like, I was late to my interview because there was a dog on the side of the road that looked sick.
Yeah.
And I had to take the dog to the vet because no one was around. And when I got to the interview, it turned out the interviewer was the dog and I got the job.
So,
because the dog was like, I never thought that somebody would care about me in my darkest hour. That's every LinkedIn post.
How about this one?
Oh, I've seen this one too. Jesus.
I'm going to zoom in. Okay, ready? So we got a reveal here.
All right.
Okay. So I proposed to my girlfriend this weekend. There's an attached photo of him proposing to his girlfriend.
Oh my God. Congratulations.
Here's what it taught me about B2B sales.
Oh, Brian. Oh, Brian. Brian, no. Don't do it, bud.
No,
I know
Brian,
you've already done it, but undo it.
Brian, no.
Brian, you gotta not though.
Oh, I love this subreddit. It's so funny.
Do you think that the woman he proposed to in that picture is the sort of woman who would see that and be like, sick post, Brian? Like, solid post, Brian.
I have to believe so if they've gotten this far.
She has to be, right? She has to be like, oh my God, Brian, I was going to write the same post.
This is why we're meant for each other.
Oh my God.
I was going to say what it taught me about marketing.
Oh my God. I thought about taking it from the position of a scrum master.
Yeah.
Making Gantt charts for my project.
Yeah. I love our synergy.
Oh my God. We are so aligned brand-wise.
It's so funny. These are just so great.
The brainworms, the full-on Robert Kennedy brainworms on fucking LinkedIn. People this is what capitalism does. Just give everyone a job, give everyone basic income, do whatever it takes to make people stop contorting their brains into this position.
Do whatever it takes to make this go away. This is, somebody asked what the subreddit is. It's LinkedIn Lunatics. Here's another one from Alexander C. that says, I'm traveling for work. Instead of eating a fancy dinner out, I've decided to cook a cheaper meal in the hotel room. Even though the hotel room didn't have a kitchen, I managed to use the coffee machine to cook chicken with butter and garlic. Although my company allows me to expense dinner while traveling, I want to save money because I know that every dollar counts on the P&L. It's the little things that get you promoted. Get absolutely fucked, dude. They sent you. That can't. Number one, you have salmonella now. You have botulism. You have whatever it is. You have it. You've got all of it. You've got all of it. Somehow tetanus. That is dairy and raw chicken in a coffee maker. And also, Alex,
somebody has to use that coffee maker after you, bud. Like somebody has to use that coffee maker after you.
That person's name is Alex, and he said also Alex, and Alex went, yeah.
Yeah? Is this about Waluigi? I'm ready.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know how to put this any other way.
Yeah.
Except your corporation isn't going to fuck you.
Your corporation is not going to fuck you.
Your corporate, you got to stop white knighting for your corporation.
They let me expense dinner, but I saved them all the dollars.
My job says that I can eat, but the Lord of the Manor says that I'm allowed to sup but once a day. And I say nay, for is not the Lord of the Manor also descended from the Lord on high? I could not disappoint him. For each grain I pick.
Hashtag level up.
Hashtag respect the miracle of flight. To say like, hey, my company allows me to eat when they send me to the middle of nowhere, but I don't do it because eating isn't cool.
I cooked chicken in a coffee maker instead. There's also so many other things that you could even make for yourself in your hotel room. So I appreciate this comment. Somebody said, I would fire that guy if he told me he cooked chicken in a coffee maker. We don't need stupid people.
Yeah.
And like, that's a fucked up way to put it. But also, like, if I found out that somebody who worked for me did that, I would be like, first of all, we need to reevaluate company culture that made you believe this.
Yeah.
But also, I don't think you are smart enough to hold a job here.
No.
I do think actually this is dangerous. I think I've actually endangered you somehow.
By
giving you a job.
I picture this guy just sitting on one of those like incredibly like cardboard motel beds.
Yeah, eating his raw chicken.
Watching like one of those like 23-inch like weird ass like TVs, and he's just watching like the hotel TV that tells you what there is to do in Rockford, Illinois while 100%. You're there. And he's eating with his hands.
Yeah.
This chicken breast, and every time he bites into it, it's that where it's cooked on the outside and then it's just raw. And he's just like the guy who ate like the liver man, the guy who ate nothing but beef liver every day.
Yeah.
But just sitting there and just being like, I am going to write the best post about this.
Oh, they're going to love it on LinkedIn.
The shit that like the culture that we have created that causes people to take these horrible things that they're doing to survive or to try to make themselves stand out.
Yeah.
And to go, okay, this is actually very inspirational. Like this is inspirational and people should hear it. What have we done to ourselves?
I was going to say, if ever you have the thought, wow, people on LinkedIn would love this, you're probably doing something wrong. But then I had a second thought before I got to that, right? Which was,
did you take your Adderall this morning?
Day, I sure did. Yeah, that's why they happened in order and they weren't spliced together.
Gotcha.
You see? Mm-hmm. And then I had my second thought, which is during my work day, while I'm walking around doing things at the studio with you all here, I'm just going to start randomly stopping and being like, every time I put something away, being like, oh, people on LinkedIn are going to love this.
People on LinkedIn.
Finish and edit. Ooh, people on LinkedIn are gonna love this.
People are gonna love
social post. People on LinkedIn are gonna
the story
love
of my
this.
perseverance.
Yeah.
Of putting the scissors back.
I cleaned the green room yesterday. People on LinkedIn are gonna love this.
People on LinkedIn are gonna love hearing about the CEO that also doesn't make a mess of their fucking office.
I wiped down that shared counter space, so I don't know. Just saying. Sometimes you got to roll around with the pigs. You know, your employees.
Yeah, exactly.
That analogy is about your employees.
Yeah, LinkedIn is bad.
Yeah.
And we should not.
It's a great subreddit. That also led me to r/recruiting hell. Do you want to hear one recruiting hell?
I'd love to hear a recruiting
All right.
hell.
So just one from here. This is a job posting that says, but before we go any further, I have a warning. Warning is in caps. I'm not the easiest person to work with. In fact, I'm very challenging. I move fast. I'm impatient. I don't like mistakes. Some people see me as too blunt or short in my interactions. That happens because I have a demanding schedule working with high performers and patient care who require me to be at my best. Listen, neither you nor I have time to waste. There's no room in our schedules for long. The screenshot does not include the rest of it. No room in our schedules for long.
There's no room in our schedules for long.
positive. You have to be positive. I don't want to hear about your problems. I don't want to hear complaints. I don't want to hear what you're doing. I just want to hear what you're doing to make each day kick ass. I want to see you smiling.
Now, it sounds like this person works in the medical field from their intro.
Sounds like it. I've got patience.
Hey,
so.
I'm not going to go to my doctor because I'm having a kick-ass day.
Yeah.
I'm not going to schedule an appointment with my doctor just to check in and let them know that I feel fucking phenomenal.
Well, then you can't work for your doctor.
Yeah. You cannot speak to this doctor.
No. Next, has a super clean record. I'll do a detailed background check on you. If you've been in trouble in the past, don't apply. Is an excellent communicator, both written and verbal. A fast learner. I'll expose you to many, many new opportunities. If you can't pick it up, don't apply. Okay, keeping going. Has discretion and can maintain confidentiality. I'm extremely private. I demand complete discretion and confidentiality.
Because I am doing everything right.
Because of this, the more I trust you, the more rewarding the job will be for you. Hey, what the fuck does that mean? And as a bonus point, if you're a perfectionist, there's nothing wrong with getting things right. Ready? Compensation is negotiable. I'm willing to pay for the right person. I wouldn't expect to find anyone for less than $50,000 a year, so that's a starting point. But I'm willing to pay more if you happen to be amazing.
I'm happy to pay you enough for a studio apartment and nothing else.
If you are the right person and add tremendous value to my life, you'll come to realize that I am an extremely generous man. Why is this now a sugar baby application? I am also open to a remote work for home team member. Now, that's a typo, but it's a Freudian slip.
Yeah.
Because you do mean work for home.
Yeah.
You are working.
You're literally just working to stay
home.
housed at that point.
However, I prefer local to Denver so that you can perform errands, shopping trips, on-site assistant at events and filming.
What does this even mean?
Of course, filming.
Dude, my buddy does like freelance video and podcast production.
Yeah.
And for every actual podcast he does work on, like real podcasts with an audience, whatever, he has to do like 5 vanity projects for doctors.
Yeah.
It's always doctors who are like, I think that I have a lot of value to give with a full on like 3-camera shoot video podcast 100%. For the world. About what, dude?
I worked for a brief time at a company that was like a online coding school.
Yeah. I remember this.
And I was like a community manager there. And one day I get the directive, we need a podcast. And I was like, who's we on what?
That's when you quit. That's when you have to quit.
I did.
Yeah. If you walk into a business that just says all of a sudden, we need a podcast, you leave.
Yeah. I mean, I mostly quit over the sexual harassment, but also, I really didn't want to start a podcast for the CEO that was sexually harassing me.
Yeah, that tracks.
But the podcast was a big factor. It was a big problem. $50,000 a year.
$50,000 for a job that we still don't understand what it is.
No.
And all we know is
you have to be perfect.
You have to be perfect. And this is a man who doesn't have time
to be nice
or say nice things.
Correct.
The people who...
I want you to be positive, but I'm going to be blunt.
The people who say, I don't have time to speak in a positive way have blown my mind for the entirety of my life.
Yeah.
The idea that like, it just takes too long to speak positively.
Yeah.
How many more words do you think it is? Or are you selling me that it takes so much time for you to think of a positive way to phrase something?
There it is. Yeah.
That you can't imagine doing it.
Alex is so correct. He wants a low commitment distant wife assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
And I do feel like there were some things in there that said, and occasional sex.
There was definitely that vibe. I can be a very generous man.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where, hey, if he finds a hot lady to do this job that will have sex with him, great. But like, he understands that he may have to fire 3 or 4 assistants before he gets there.
Yeah. I've also been an assistant for absolutely this dude.
Yeah.
It's absolutely this dude.
It's always that dude.
One day I came to work and he said, do you dress up all hot like that for me? True story. And I had to say, no. Anyway. Jobs are bad and 50 grand isn't enough. That's it, everybody.
That's it, everyone.
I think that's all the show that we have time for. Thank you so much for joining us and spending your morning with us. Some days, it's not a lot of video game news. Some days, we'll just read Reddit instead.
Some days, we do things a little different.
And hey, if you enjoy that, be sure to like the video, leave a comment and let us know what you think. Hey, speculate. What do you think the job is?
It's gotta.
Is it an assistant to a doctor, but not a medical profession?
No. Assistants off the table.
You don't think it's assistant?
No, I think it's probably assistant, but that's also the number one guess.
Yeah.
Give us other guesses that work.
Yeah.
Give us other guesses that work. And you can leave those as a comment on the video if you're watching on YouTube. That would be amazing. You can chat about it in the Discord.
So true. You can join the Discord totally free. It's always linked in the description or popping up in the chat if you're watching live. Hey, if you're watching later, just so you know, we do the show live at 9 a.m. Pacific every Monday and Friday at twitch.tv/Pixel Circus.
That's right.
And if you want even more of us, you can go to patreon.com/Pixel Circus. And you can get a bonus clip from this show every week. Enjoy all that extra content from this show and all the others too, which is pretty neat.
And if you're a podcast listener and you have been asking us when the podcast is going to come to your platform of choice, it's probably there.
It's probably there.
It's probably there at this point.
God, hopefully. It's definitely on Spotify. It's definitely on some others. And I am so confused.
It should be available.
Yeah.
If you have a specific case, definitely let us know. But Saige and Xander did an amazing job of figuring out tech issues.
We're doing our best.
And getting us everywhere. So if you're an audio podcast person, we should be there for you.
Yeah.
Also.
Should I put this episode on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I think that's really our target platform.
I think LinkedIn's going to love this.
That's
episode.
really our target platform.
Yeah.
So be sure to watch this on LinkedIn. Saige, when you're not here.
Yes.
Where are you?
You can find me everywhere on the internet at Not Saige, or you can listen to my new podcast, Too Hot for Love with Kendall, right here on the Pixel Circus channel or on podcast platforms everywhere. How about you, Anthony?
It's MILF approved. You can find me everywhere on the internet at Carboni, except for on Twitch, where I'm at Anthony Carboni. Twitch, you cowards, it's mine. Give it back to me. And also on my science comedy podcast with Jeff Kanata. It's called We Have Concerns, and you can find that everywhere podcasts are sold.
How about you, Alex?
You can find me on Twitter at Alder_Mancy, but I just want to say there's some really cool TikTok campaigns going on right now.
There's some really cool what?
No,
say it again.
There's some very cool
sock cutter
TikTok campaigns going on right now to support displaced families in Gaza. So go check that out. It's called Pass the Hat, and it's really amazing.
That's fantastic. Alex, would you post a link to that in our Discord?
Yeah, please.
Will do.
Can find that. That would be really lovely. That's cool.
Yeah.
We almost lost the point there, but we got it back.
That's right.
And that's important. We're going to go through and we're going to thank everyone who supported us directly here on Twitch during the show, because y'all make it possible and it's very cool of you.
That's right.
I'm waiting for this page to refresh. Moonbeam Dreamer, thank you so much for the 19-month resub.
That's right. 23 months for Telecto. Thank you very much.
Tybor for 24 months, at getting close to having a 2-year anniversary.
That's right.
See you in 2 more months. Fly bothering me.
Snorlaxing, thank you for 9 months. We really appreciate it.
Very cool of you. Saras the Weary for 41 months. That's a long time. I think you like us.
I think you might.
That's very cool of you. And that's it for Twitch. Everybody, y'all are so neat and we appreciate you. Thank you again for spending your morning with us. We'll see you on Friday.
Bye, BBs.